Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Aquarius Rising Africa. And it is Saturday. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It's awesome for me to be having a date night on a Saturday with you all from all over the world. And Brock in the background, that's going to enter soon. So, yeah, interesting conversation tonight. Again, we're doing the DUMBS Part 2. Graphic warning, trigger warning, please. We've got some pictures that we're going to be showing, and some of them are definitely not for kids or sensitive viewers, so just make sure there are no little people in the vicinity for tonight, please. Hello, Lisa D. Hello, Jojo Wake, and hello, Girl on a Gong. So good to see you all here. And yes, but before I bring Brock on, for those of you who didn't see the Epstein Decode with Jessie this week, please watch it. I mean, it's crazy. It really, really is crazy. The Epstein Island Decode, that is. She did part 1 and part 2 of Epstein Island, pretty much decoding the entire island and seeing what was happening where and these altars, and it's just crazy. So really, that information is so important for people to get out. And yesterday we did a show, Jan and myself, very, very interesting. We've just started. It's the first of quite a few. We're doing the documentary, I think I know it's something, but the untold story, the greatest untold story of Adolf Hitler. Very, very interesting. So we just started that yesterday, so catch that as well. We're going to be doing that every Friday. And of course, Leo was not on last night. He had a power failure. So he will be joining us hopefully next week. And of course, members, so please join the members membership channel and become a part of the Arrow tribe. And we will be having book club with Leo Zagami from the 17th of June as well, where we'll be reading his book, and then we have a show for the members where he'll be taking any questions and going through his book, the latest book, Confessions of an Illuminati, Part 12. And tomorrow, Patreon Book Club with Jessie. So join us at 3 p.m. my time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do know that. Okay, everybody, without any further ado, look forward to having Brock from Nesara 17. You see, we get to see his lovely face, everybody. Brock, nice to see your face. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that it's the weekend again. And hopefully I'll be able to sleep in again tomorrow. Fingers crossed.
Well, not today, because you're on Arrow today. So thanks for joining us. Really good to see you again. So how are things there on that side, by the way? I mean, so much has happened actually in the month or so that we've chatted. I mean, I know on that side as well, on this side as well, with, of course, all our shenanigans and Cyril Ramaphosa. Guys, wait. Guys, I simply have to. Brock, forgive me. I simply have to. Give me a moment, please.
Okay.
I think when Trump comes to South Africa, this is going to be the T-shirt that's waiting for him.
That's funny.
He actually didn't say dim the lights, he said turn down the lights. And I got to tell you, when he said turn down the lights, we were, oh, no, it's going to happen. He's going to see the videos. Because you got to know, that kind of stuff, I mean, it's been going on here for decades and decades.
Yeah, we've been hearing about it.
But yeah, and every time there's been any kind of international diplomat or anything, it's always played down. I mean, Ramaphosa has blatantly lied over and over, saying it's not happening, you know. And really, at the end of the day, that's our favorite Trump moment. I'll have you all know. Turn down the lights. That was
Well,
awesome.
you know the little bit of the backstory of, I'm sure you know this because you're South African, but the backstory was he was going there to basically ask for money. You knew about that, right?
All right, yeah, of course. Of
So
course.
we
I
you know
mean,
the United States gives everybody money across the whole world, and he was going there to ask for money, and not only that, but he wanted to ask for investment, and that's perfectly okay. You know, I have zero issue with American companies going to South Africa and doing anything, any legitimate business, right? But he's the way that that President Trump works is he holds his cards close to his chest, and then he sees how the other person will react, and then he plays his card if he needs to play it. So what he was doing was bringing up the issue gently and seeing how your president Ramaphosa would bring it up. And if it went well, I have a little bit of inside information. If it went well, and he said, "Look, uh, we're gonna end it. We don't like the killings. You know, in general, South Africa is way more violent than 30 years ago, but especially in regards to the Boer farmers, which are white farmers basically. If he would have owned up to it and said, "Yeah, we need to do it. We need your help, and we also would like investment," it would have went totally differently. But since it was kind of the one reporter was trying to like shove it under the rug, right? And it didn't go that way. So he already had all of his, we have like the best intelligence in the whole world, probably. And maybe, Israel's two, a couple European nations are in the top 10. You think he can't find satellite images of graves and doesn't have people on the ground? Come on. We're talking about, the top intelligence agency in the world most likely, and he doesn't know about it? Give me a break, right?
I mean, it was so, you know, this country has got such the people, the land is so wounded. It really, really is. What we're seeing here is not just the last 30 years. This is like the last 300 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like the boil that's becoming the volcano. And I think it's so important because no matter what race you are, any type of genocide on another is absolutely abominable. And rest assured, there is genocide on the white farmers, for sure. There's not genocide on the white people as a full nation. Our crime rate is high. Yes, we are targeted hugely in terms of crime, but what it's sort of called a slow genocide, right? So it would be starting there, and then it moves into the rest of the country, which is what's been happening. So, it's part of the healing process. Malema's been arrested. He's been in court. So there's definitely been stuff that's been spoken about, done. Brock, are you okay? Can you hear
Sorry,
me?
yes, I'm 100% okay. It was
Okay.
a little one.
No worries. I was just wondering if you had sound problems. But anyway, it
No,
is what it is,
sorry.
and it's part of the healing journey. And for all of our continents, I think, and I'm really enjoying what's happening as well as since it's come about, there's a lot more stuff being said. And you're hearing a lot of African people telling other African people, stop it. You know, this is not the way, because really, if you think about it, the only reason South Africa is a first world country, I mean, it's considered a third world country. Up until the ANC, it was, although considered third world because it's Africa, but everything about South Africa is first world. And why? It's obviously because of the European government. And that's why all of Africa wants to be here. So now, it's like, okay, well, you speak my language, you get my education, you got my infrastructure. So how does this work? Has there not been an exchange? There has been an exchange. So we have to be able to understand that there's a balance and we've got to find that balance. And it's interesting that it's here because, of course, Africa, being the most southern tip of the globe, it kind of needs to happen. Yeah, it's almost like it's the umbilical cord. So yeah, interesting times indeed. Interesting times
Right,
indeed.
and also I didn't realize that Belgium is very fruitful as far as how much yield they get per acre or whatever of growing food, and the South African farms were right up there in the world with being the most productive, you know. So if they
Yeah, yeah.
suddenly take out people that for generations have been working on their productivity, making it more efficient, and take them out, then, if you do that enough, eventually you're going to have a famine.
Well, of course, that's what's happening. And of course, but most people, you see, unfortunately, there's so much brainwashing that Malema, who, by the way, is a British puppet, incidentally, he's a British puppet. And, he lives in a mansion on the hill, several mansions on the hill, has white bodyguards all around him. So he's completely reversed this whole thing. Wears Rolexes and drives all sorts of fancy cars, but then goes there and preaches about black poverty when he's been bought out hook, line, and sinker already by the cabal. Okay, he's owned. So is Ramaphosa. So are all the leaders. So they are all actually owned by the whites. They are. And that's the sad reality of what's been going on. Johan Rupert runs this country, and he has since South Africa became a close corporation, which was, I do believe, 1983. So we are not a sovereign state. We've been bought and owned for, and the New World Order are our, members. Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, New World Order, George Soros. These are the members of South Africa that is now close corporation and has been for many years. So we've been really sold a fake democracy. And that's the problem, because when you look at the narrative is to create destabilization in Southern Africa. And the way they do it is by keeping the old apartheid narrative alive in the politicians like Malema, right? And a few others. So they keep, and the new generation, I mean, these guys didn't even live through apartheid. Most of them are youngsters. They don't even know what apartheid is. But unfortunately, because their leaders have taken the money that's been given and taxpayers' money, of course, it's squandered by the fat cats, and the youngsters see nothing. So they are angry. But the narrative is it's the white man's fault. So boer is an Afrikaans word for farmer, which really, and if you look at South Africa's history, the Dutch people, the Hollanders, settled here in 1652, but they did not occupy land. They were setting up trading stations for the Dutch East India Company. So there was like 92 Hollanders that arrived here, 92 or something in 1652. That's the Jan van Riebeeck that has been demonized. It was not them that started apartheid. It was the British. The British came in here, colonized the land, and killed the natives and hunted and slaughtered them, as well as the Dutch. The Dutch were put in concentration camps by the British. That's known as the Anglo-Boer War. And women and children treated like absolute abominations by the British. And yes, in order for them to get out, they had to kind of follow the British rule regime. And did they adopt the apartheid system? Yes. When you look back at our history, Verwoerd was one of the presidents that was murdered in Parliament. He was stabbed with a knife, and he was accused of being the architect of apartheid. In reality, Verwoerd was bringing inequality. He wanted to then already bring Bantu people into Parliament.
And give them a voice.
Yes, absolutely. But he was murdered, and then he was demonized as the architect of apartheid. It's the British people. And I say this, strong British, strong Dutch, okay? The British and the Dutch have the Anglo-Boer War inside of me, trust me. Okay, so I'm not taking one part over the other. But I am saying that the history we've been told in many ways has been so skewed. And Nelson Mandela, for example, is not Nelson Mandela. There was a Zimbabwean called Gibson Makandla that played the role of Nelson Mandela coming out of prison. It was never Nelson Mandela, you know? So it's
I didn't know that.
interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, no, it's Gibson Makandla, a Zimbabwean. It's never Nelson
Interesting.
Mandela. He died in jail. It's very interesting
Ah,
what's coming on.
oh, so that's where the Mandela effect comes from. So it really wasn't him.
Absolutely.
So he did die in jail.
Yes. That's why when
Okay.
he divorced him. Yeah.
Okay. Because when he came out of jail, it wasn't him, right?
No, it wasn't
That's why
him.
she divorced him, because it wasn't the same guy.
Right. And also what I'm hearing is that she was, I mean, when he was vicious, make no mistake. But she was when she divorced Mandela, she was leader or chairperson of the ANC Women's League and had really a lot of high status positions. She was stripped from everything because she divorced him. But basically, they said it's because she was doing the necklacing and what have you. Apparently, there's a whole big issue around that now, how true that was, because the story is that pretty much she was stripped because she divorced Mandela and she knew the truth. So they had to keep her quiet. Who knows? We're going to figure out all these things as we go along. We're going to figure out all these things as we go along. So we'll see. Anyway, Brock, what can you tell us about the DUMBS? I know last week, or last month rather, we were doing all sorts of things. And what do you have for us today?
Well, I'm calling this series Back to the Basics. So, like I've said before, I've been in the truther realm, working behind the scenes and not putting myself out there for, I think we're coming up on 13, 14 years now. But, my family has a unique background. I worked in defense industry and automotive and other industries. I worked on high technology. And at a certain point, it sparked me to find out more about the Bible, about God, etc. And then I went and I just used the internet, and also working on stuff that regular people don't even know exists, as far as defense technology. It sparked me, and I said, the internet's a tool. I'm going to go down all these different paths and learn as much as I can, and use my grandpa, who also worked on you know um, things that people don't know exist. So eventually, we started studying all this, and so bringing it back around, everybody um, really started get a lot of people start getting awakening with COVID, right? Okay, what's going on? What's really happening? Is there a deeper story I don't know about that is not being reported on this traditional news? So one of those topics is DUMBS, deep underground military bases. So I wanted to go further into that because, I've been in we'll call it a very deep bunker when I was a little boy. I got access with my grandpa, and I probably shouldn't have, maybe let's say I probably shouldn't have been in there, but he wanted to show me before he retired. And so, I know they exist. I've talked to people who have been in them, firsthand accounts, and you know, it's I've said this before, but it's really hard sometimes to get a picture or a good video out, because, let's say I took this phone into a secure defense facility, this camera right here would have black tape over it. And even if they saw me do like this, that I'd be escorted out right away and lost my job. So the fact that we have any pictures of this type of stuff, um, is a small miracle. But I just want to go through and go a little bit deeper. Say, okay, the DUMBs exist. We know they exist. Let's go in a little bit deeper. Say what's happening in them, and what kind of programs are they doing there that we don't know about as regular everyday Americans. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that, and then and then our next one will change the subject. But that's we want to dive a little bit deeper today.
Well, shall I pop it up? Are you ready for that?
Sure. All right. So this is, many people might imagine that there is, and you can stop me at any point if you have any questions. Feel free.
Sure.
Many people might imagine that there are, from Cold, let's even say from Cold War times, from let's say 1950 on to roughly 1985, somewhere around there, they start, especially right after World War II. Once Russia and the USSR got nuclear weapons, we had, it was called mutually assured destruction, but both of us had enough nuclear weapons even back then to destroy, God, most of the world. And anyway, they had these doomsday scenarios where they would plan to put all of the senators and all of the government officials and put them down into these bunkers that were, supposedly nuclear proof in case the Capitol got hit. So this picture is probably 2017. Well, no, later than that. Maybe 2019, around there. So what they're doing is they're excavating. They have all these tunnels and basically an underground bunker built under the Capitol, built under the Senate, under the White House, all that. And it's super thick concrete. It can withstand a gigantic explosion. And it's rare that we get to see a picture like this, but here they were doing some maintenance, so we're able to see some of the pictures. And by the way, how you see the iceberg, you just see the tip out of the water, and everything underneath is like, 2/3 of it is underwater. And so with this, we're only seeing like the first couple of floors underground. It probably goes underground 10 floors, if I had to guess.
Wow. Where do we get these pictures? I mean, I'm just interested to know that.
Different sources. I mean, now
Mm.
that we have more
Wow.
people getting into the truther stuff, there's levels to the truther. The first level, let's say, was the COVID stuff. Okay, is there any, even ask the question, is there any alternative treatments I can do to help me get over the sickness? Basic level stuff. And then you go a level deeper, and then a level deeper. So uh we're going to go deeper on this, but even there's still stuff that we're going to skip over. But
Okay.
um, we get them from sources, uh, firsthand accounts, um, anyway, could be special forces, could be people in the government, could be contractors, any one of the above. All right, you want to go to the next picture?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, let me
you
bring
can
up.
move as you feel fit, yeah.
All right, let's see, what do we want to do next here? Here's a good overall one. Let's do this one next. Did that pop up for you? Yeah, here's an overview. I really like people that have done, CAD or whatever, cutaways on this. So this one's just showing you how it would work. Excuse me. Now, we've even heard that there are magnetic levitating trains that go through and connect like a grid everywhere in the United States. And I've also heard the same about South Africa and Europe. And they will go real low. And they're, in some cases, um, well, okay. So you go inside the Earth, you imagine there's no air, there's no breathable air unless you pump it in from the surface, right? Or create your own with some sort of system, right? So since there's less air down there, air, when you're going fast, bullet trains, what, 200, maybe 250 miles an hour. I can't recall for sure, but a fast train's 100 miles an hour. A pretty good, the next level up's 150. I think bullet trains are around 200. It's moving pretty good. It's going to get you there, 2.5 times faster than driving on the freeway, something like that. Then
Yeah,
magnetic levitation trains they make the tracks create an electromagnetic field, and the train floats on it like this. So there's no actual wheels, and the wheels would create friction, which the highest limit of a wheel, let's say, is 400 or 500 miles an hour, and they can't do it for that long because the rolling on the tracks makes the wheels so hot that they can't sustain that. Okay, and so deep in the tunnel, there's not as much breathable air, so there's less air friction. And then when you take away the wheels and the train levitates on the tracks, even if it's only, an inch, so 25 millimeters or whatever, it levitates. It can go super, super fast. Um, you know, I don't know for sure, but I've heard ranges anywhere from 500 miles an hour, which is like a jet. A jet would travel that fast, all the way to, they say that they can break the sound barrier with these trains, and they can go, above Mach. Mach 1 is the sound barrier. So if you go faster than Mach 1, you're going faster than the speed of sound. So I've heard that they can actually go that fast. I don't know for sure, but in this diagram, the maglev trains would be all the way down on the bottom.
Wow.
And that's how they
Wow.
now, I also believe they have higher, we'll do this another show, but we'll just touch on that. I believe they have higher technology too, where they could probably, most likely transport a human like they would on Star Trek, and just walk in and then walk out somewhere else like a portal. But we know for sure, based on firsthand accounts, that the magnetic levitation trains exist, and they can get places very quickly. If you're traveling, faster than the speed of sound, and you want to go DC to New York, I don't know what that would take, but let's say driving, it would take you 4 or 5 hours, and that you might take you 40 minutes in one of these.
It's amazing. Wow. How long have these things been around? I mean, when we're looking at technology and what we're seeing, what these guys have really been capable of doing and what they have been doing behind the scenes compared to what they've been showing us, it's worlds apart. So how long do you think these
I
underground trains, whatever they are, if you call them that, have been operational?
Okay, I have been hearing reports for at least 10 years.
So it's
So
quite recent. It's quite recent. It's not like
so
it's
I'm gonna
been over.
say let's guesstimate 15 years.
Okay, it's still quite recent.
Yep.
Wow. It's not like it's been there since the 1920s and we haven't known about it. Right.
I don't think so. I mean, would they have underground trains back in the 1920s? That we're talking about the cabal, the evil people. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think they would
Mm.
have maglev back then because they just didn't have the grid and the infrastructure to suck all that electricity out. Also, we can touch on this again in another show, but a lot of why do we have so much debt in the United States? We're like, what gives? They'll say this, that, but the black budget programs are are a big chunk of the debt. I'll just say that. I'll say it like that, nice and simple.
Right. Wow.
It's my opinion when they say that I have reason to believe this, but when they say we lost money, or we don't want to audit this, or this money's unaccounted for, that it went to black budget programs. That's my opinion. Because
Okay, makes
there's
perfect
no way
sense.
you can, if you lost $1 trillion, you can't put that in your bank account. You'll get busted in like half a second, you know?
Yeah,
You could only, in other words, you could only embezzle so much before the number is so astronomically big. You're like, what is, if you end up and you become a millionaire, or you say, well, uh, I got this really good stock trade, and I invested 50 grand, and my return was 750,000. Well, it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. But if you had all of a sudden $1 billion in your account, it's like, what? Where did this come from? Right?
right.
So
Exactly.
I believe that over time we'll start to see that, but it's not going to be overnight. We'll start to hear about that, black budget programs, and all the debt.
Sure. Okay.
Want to go to another one?
Yeah. You can move when
Okay.
you're ready.
All right, let's see what we got next. Oh, let's check this one out. Let's see. It's not showing super clear, but let's pop it open, see if it looks good on your screen. Did it come up yet?
Let me
Yeah,
see.
looks like it did.
I'm just trying to find
It's
it.
further down.
There we go. Yeah.
There it is. All right, this is another view, same thing we were talking about. The underground, we'll call this a bunker, but I'm putting it in the DUMBS category for obvious reasons. And those are temporary support pillars. Can you see those where it's dark underneath the building? Temporary
Yeah.
support pillars. And then right under the main beautiful columns where the stairs are, there's other pillars under that. That's for supporting the weight. So that's part of the actual structure. And then so on the more right, the middle right of the picture, those are support pillars for the bunker on below. And then there's other stuff that is temporary support structure while they're working on it over here on the other side.
Wow. Just an interesting question. Yeah. That's just come up pretty much about, yeah. And how did they get them to remain quiet about it? Must have taken thousands to build this. So I'm wondering, yeah, the construction workers that build these things and are involved in this, I mean, are they under some type of restraint?
Oh yeah,
Uh, you
absolutely.
know,
Well,
mm,
you get paid. Let's say you're a construction company and you say, all right, it's going to cost me $1 million to build, you know, uh, a medium to small size bunker underneath whatever building ABC in Washington. They say, okay, we're going to pay you 4 million. So just do it right, and keep the rest as profit. So A, you're getting paid really, really well, and B, you have to sign the NDA and sign your life away. So if you talk about it, they have the right to, you know, take you out.
yep,
So that's why we don't hear about it. If you're a contractor and you somehow get roped into a project like this, wherever it may be in the country, and you quote it, and A, you don't even really know what you're quoting for in the beginning, okay? And then B, let's say you win the job, they'll research everything about you and make sure that they know everything about you. There's no ties to a foreign government, etc. Once you've gone through the vetting and they say, yeah, we pick, you know, Nesara um, construction company, for example, then they're going to pay you way more than you would have made. So you're happy and you're like, sure, I won't tell anybody. And you make tons of money. What are you going to complain? You got nothing to complain about.
money talks. Always about the money, right? They always get the people who will sell their souls for money.
Well,
Wow.
they don't know they're doing anything bad. They're just building a bunker. They don't know that.
But I'm sure a few of them in there will see dodgy things going on or question things. I mean, you hear about all these stories every now and again with these people coming out telling you the things they've seen. Not
Right.
everyone complies. I do believe that not everyone complies, but I think there are those that are terrified. So they do keep quiet, and maybe when it's safer, they will start speaking. It's very difficult. I mean, I can imagine if you're let's say a father of young children and you've got to choose between keeping quiet to protect your family or speaking for the betterment of everything. What is your choice going to be? If you knew that it was going to better the situation, you probably would do something, but your voice is really a puff against the wind.
Trust me, I
So,
understand that very, very well.
yeah. Hmm. Cool. Okay.
Okay, let's go to the next one then. Oops, wrong one. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Okay, let's go to this one. And let's see. I'll save the other ones for at the end. So we did that one, that one, that one. Let's see what else we got here. I don't want to do that one right now. Let's go to this one.
Okay, let me see.
It's going to
Is
be
it this
further
one?
down,
Sorry.
yeah. So this is sort of related. So maybe we'll do a show on Stargates, okay, and portals that they found. But this is an old picture of the ring of the Stargate that they found. And recently, what I found was quite interesting. Everyone knows Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is working with the good guys, the White Hats, and he has a comedy stage, and he pretty much helped save comedy because they were trying to cancel it during the cancel culture around 2020ish, around that time frame, and he built a new stage and so forth in Austin, Texas, and they have the ring of the Stargate that you see there, but a modern interpretation of that around the stage like this. And so very few people pick that up, but I found it funny that he did that.
Wow. So where did you say the Stargate is?
They found one in the Middle East.
And who,
And this, oh,
when was this?
I'm
Sorry,
sorry, I
when?
should tie this in. This can enable them to travel from one facility to another when they put it underground.
Okay, so what is it made of? I mean, I'm trying to figure out what that is. What is it made of? Is it like metal or what?
The ring is metal, it's up against rock.
Oh, is that what it is? Rock. Wow. So is that done according to like ley lines? Well, they obviously, because ley lines and portals will always be working hand in hand together. So I
Uh-huh.
guess they would have figured out where that portal is. And I think, I mean, what is that, metal? And if you can look at those little white arrow things on it, little ticker things,
Yep.
I guess they would be having some type of energy harnessing going on there.
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
Middle East, Tammy. You said the Middle East. Wow. Okay. Are they still operating, these portals? Or these
Yes.
stargates,
To my
rather?
knowledge, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, ready for the next one? All right, so
Mm-hmm.
now we're gonna switch and switch up a little bit and start to talk about what they're doing in there. And they're doing a lot of experimenting. So um, let's go to let's show some artist renditions of the creatures that are helping with the experimentation and giving them the evil ideas. That one's going to be at the
I want to
bottom.
say, Janice, I agree with you. I do believe that's some of the fallen angel technology they've probably discovered. Using it again. Okay, sorry.
Well, if
So
you
that's the one with the lizard
and
head.
yeah, that's a good artist rendition of what some of the creatures look like. Now, my personal belief is that these guys, the reptilianoids, are actually fallen angels. If you go back to the original language in the Hebrew, there's different types of angels that it describes, messenger angels, this type, that type. Excuse me. One of them alludes to a reptilian type of humanoid. And so I believe that if you could go back to their very, I think it's called Paleo Hebrew. I don't remember, but it's like there's modern Hebrew and ancient Hebrew, basically, like ancient Greek, modern Greek, Old English, modern English, something like that. So uh, when you go back to the original language and you read all the different words they have for angel, one of them implies that they have reptilian characteristics.
Oh, handsome fellow. Needs a
Yeah,
dose of holy water.
yeah, I don't know if that would help.
Just a little squirt. Okay.
Okay, the next one is going to be like what do you call it? Is that a collage? I think it's called a collage, where you put all the pictures together. And so we also heard that some of them can manifest their outside skin, their exterior, to look human, and they have the ability to change back from their natural form, which would be like the green guy in the middle, to more humanoid type that looks just like us. They can switch like this.
Wow. Handsome
Let's
guys.
let's see what else. Let's go to this. I think this, hopefully this shows up clear on yours. It's a little bit blurry on mine. And take a second to upload it. But we heard that the Third Reich, under Adolf H in World War II, was collaborating with them, and that's where he had actually levitation technology that he just started working on at the end of the war. And
Mm.
yeah, that's not it. It's going to be all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, that's the one that I've just.
Maybe you want me to remove some? I might have too many.
Yeah,
So,
I think remove the beginning ones because the
okay,
first ones that you use because they're coming up.
not a
Is that the
problem.
right one that I've just put up there?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So, uh, okay, here we go. Yes. So they had coins made in the 40s when they started making deals with these evil entities, and one of them they had the swastika on it, one side, and the other. I showed that in our last show, and they had on the other side they had a basically a reptilianoid, but he was making deals with them because he was able to get high technology from them because their intellect is greater than ours. But most of the time, like all the time, they give good ideas, but they end up, I don't know, like enabling a new weapon that can take out thousands and thousands of people. So, yeah, the Vril Society, so I see this in the chat. The Vril Society, VRILL, was the society that the Third Reich had, and they used to have girls with blonde hair, really, really long, and they would take some sort of drugs and get into a spiritual state where they could supposedly talk to these entities. And so they were in an altered state, and they could, in my opinion, they were talking to either demons or fallen angels, and that's where they got their evil ideas. They had the first turbine engine too. The Germans did. I think it was called the Messerschmitt 262 at the end of the war. They had missiles. They were unguided, but they had missiles that could fire from Europe and hit England. They had really a lot of high technology, and thank God that they didn't win. But then they said that they went down to Argentina after the war, so we could debate that later time. But
Very interesting. Yes. I mean, I know that the Nazis were linked to the Vril. And we were actually doing that show yesterday with Joanne and myself on the untold story of Adolf Hitler. And one of my questions was, because when you see what he did after World War One, I mean, it was absolutely amazing, what he did. But my
to
question
rebuild
was,
the country, you mean?
yeah, and my
Hmm.
question was, where did he get these ideas from, especially with their armor and stuff, right? And it was exactly what I was saying. Was that sounds to me like it came from the Vril, but interesting,
Oh, it
interesting indeed.
definitely did. They even named their
Yeah.
society after that.
Okay, the next one, shall I add it?
Yeah, that's one of the creatures that's underground. That's what another version of them looks like.
Jeez.
Yep. So we've been hearing reports that they used, special soldiers to go down there and clean out the DUMBS. We're talking about the good people going after the bad people, right? And so we've been hearing that they've been encountering weird animals and creatures that were
Yeah.
genetically modified. They literally made monsters, but some of them are natural. They're just they're part of God's creation, but they're also evil. They're called fallen angels, right? So some of them are man-made and some are not.
So how do we know which one? I know. Okay, let me not speak too fast. I'm getting ahead of myself here. How do we know which ones are evil? I mean, just God's creatures, but still natural. And how do we know which ones are chimeras? Because we do quite a bit of shows on the cryptids and stuff, and the werewolves, the dogmen, that sort of things. I do believe, for example, Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot is a natural creature of God, right? And I was speaking to Rachel Vaughan yesterday from Australia. They've got the Yowie there, which is like the Australian Bigfoot. That's full on from God, you know.
Well, we
Interesting.
think we don't know.
Well, I think it's interesting theories because what they're saying as well, when we're working on timelines, they're saying that these cryptids from God, for example, right, the natural ones, they're not all bad. That they are actually our past. If you're looking on the timelines, like right, past, future, and present, what they're saying is that a lot of these, well, the Bigfoot are actually our past, us in the past. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I don't rule that out. I just say unknown at this point.
Yeah, I agree. But it's very interesting. And I don't know if you listen to Greg Braden at all, but I came
I've heard the
across
name, but I haven't heard any of his stuff.
Greg Braden is amazing. He speaks about, he works with the human DNA, that sort of stuff. And I heard something so interesting a day or two ago. He was saying, again, we're talking timelines, right? And he was saying that these AI sort of robotic creatures that are coming to tamper what we perceive to be tampering with our DNA. He said
Uh-huh.
that's actually our future selves. He said because as human beings, we gave away our our sovereignty to AI, and that's who we became in the future. So these AI things that are coming back and tampering with DNA is really our future selves wanting to reclaim our original DNA so that they can actually come back to being human again. I find that fascinating. It is fascinating. If we if we understand timelines, anything's
Mm-hmm.
possible on a timeline. And I mean that to me, especially when we're looking at Mandela effect and stuff, it's very
Mm-hmm.
possible to change these things. So I think that's very possible indeed. I
Well,
don't
to
want
go
your
back,
take again.
yeah, I'm not sure. I leave a lot in the unknown category until I have pretty good evidence to make a conclusive determination for myself. I
Well, I'm
lean. I
telling.
might have a gut instinct to lean this way or that way, but a lot of things like the Bigfoot thing, is it spiritual? Is it just a ape human, uh, you know, one of our ancient ancestors? I don't really know. So, but I do believe that they're around. I just don't know, where they're coming from or what they actually are. I know that they took a hair from one of them and had it tested, and it wasn't in the known genome from what scientists said. So that's all I have to go by.
Well, I'm more an intuitive kind of girl. So I'm going to play with the chords that get struck on my soul to see where it resonates.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
fine.
yeah.
That's fine. But if I
Okay. So,
was if I was clearing a tunnel, I've had some limited training. But if I was clearing a tunnel and had my favorite weapon on me and I came across something like this, I for sure would shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, that's not the prettiest guy in town. I definitely don't want to wake up with him in the morning.
You're clearing, especially you're in the deep underground and it's just you and your other guys clearing this out. I'm not going to ask questions. I'm going to squeeze first.
But you got to hope that that thing can die by a bullet then, because most of these things can't even die by bullets from what I'm hearing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm about to find out. That's a, you know.
Okay, well, tell me if it ever happens, Brock. can can we move on to a more pretty one now, please? I'm gonna get nightmares from this thing.
No, we're gonna stay in the ugly for a while.
Stop it.
Well, I don't want to, but
Okay, is there another one now? All
I
right.
just popped one up. So
Oh
that's
my word. What the
one
heck
that
is
they
that?
that's a I will call it a monster that was created in one of the labs underground.
Okay, so where is this taken? Do we have a little bit of context here? It looks like a sort of a Caribbean type tribe. Looks like where is this? Where is this? Do we know?
Don't know.
This is just hideous. So did it lock up? Did you say it washed up on the shore
No, it was
somewhere?
killed.
And what did the body look like?
Pretty ugly.
I would say with a face like that, he's not going to be winning any date night contests.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry, I'm making light of this, but jeez. Yeah, it's an orc. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. An orc from Middle Earth. That's what it is. It really
Yep,
is.
it is.
So now, hang on. That actually, I mean, when you see those orcs from Middle Earth, do you think that they're real and
Yes.
or that they've been made? Are they chimeras?
I think they
Or
were
is that,
man-made, yes.
or they're just hellish beings?
No, I think they're man-made.
And they've got those Raphael spirits, right? Or the unclean
Well,
souls.
okay, from, a spiritual perspective, a man and a woman come together, a natural man, natural woman, come together, make a kid. So if you look up, there's a spark of life. They can see when the sperm fertilizes the egg, it sparks. It makes a like a
Yeah.
kind of like a mini bright flash. You can look that up.
Yeah.
Everybody can look that on their own time. So I believe, and this is what we talk about within the Christian community, that's when the soul is going in. Right at that moment, the soul goes in. Okay? This is just a belief, but that's what we believe. With these guys, I don't think they have a soul. So if they don't have a soul that's been given from our creator, that means that a demon spirit that's going around can inhabit them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my
Yeah, and
opinion.
all these cloned things, definitely, all these chimeras, definitely. I have no doubt they have those Raphael dodgy spirits hitchhiking on those ugly bodies. Oh, goodness. Okay, can we get a little bit of pretty back here now, please? Brock. Huh?
Next one. Next one's not as bad.
How
This
can
is
you say
another.
that's not as bad?
No, it's not as
What?
bad.
What the heck is that? No.
They make a chimera and and put it into the female pig, and then they have the pig give birth to it. They use insemination, and then that's how they have these things born. They use the womb of the pig because
And
our
this, I think, and this, I believe, is what Jessie was probably been talking about. But she often has spoken to us about how they do experiments in the womb of the breeders, like, and they'll put pig's hooves and a nose on this baby, and then when
she's
it's
not wrong.
born, yeah, and when it's born, they'll tell her that she gave birth to a demonic creature. Now, I have not heard about this. I mean, that's human. That's got some human in it. There's a lot of human in that baby. And it's definitely got not those aren't pig feet and hands. What kind of hands are those? What is mixed with that? That is just horrific. Is that pig alive?
No.
Why is the pig dead? I mean, like, did
After
it
they
die?
get what they want, they kill it.
And that baby, so the baby's also dead.
Sometimes they're stillborn, sometimes they're not.
And how long can they live until?
Don't know. It's speculative. We don't know. The oldest that I've seen, I have videos that I probably can't, but that we probably shouldn't put on here. But the oldest I've seen is around 1.5, 2 years old from something like this. I'm guesstimating.
Lisa D, I'm actually very glad they put that pig out of her misery. I tell you,
Oh, the pig
these
doesn't know what's going on. He's just an animal.
no, but what? Yeah, exactly. Well, the pig has the intelligence of a 9-year-old child. Let's never forget that.
Yeah, no,
My
yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah,
But
my
the pig is
point is
innocent in
that
this.
totally, it's these. There's a special place in hell for people or creatures that do this. I'm sorry, it is the most depraved thing ever.
Before with people with diabetes, before we used to have, synthetic or man-made insulin, we used to use pigs' insulin for them because we're so close to them on our organs and stuff. So that's why they use them.
It's interesting for me because they use a pig. I mean, in a lot of human. I mean, if things like if people are learning to tattoo, right? Tattoo artists will tattoo on pigskin, right? So for some reason, they love this human pig combination. But we hear that pigs have got a lot of human DNA. But I'm wondering if that's because I've heard from quite a few of the survivors that have done let's call it small child hunting, right? That have been involved in small person hunting, that the remains of the children get given to the pigs.
Yeah, I've heard that
So,
too.
and then they ingest this. So of course, you're now eating an animal that has eaten a human. So you kind of like now eating your own kind again. Why do pigs have so much a similar DNA to humans? Do you know?
Oh, you'll probably have to ask the creator on that one.
Yeah. And that's why it's an abomination, I agree, to eat a pig. A pig is considered unclean to eat. And I'm pretty
Well,
sure
pigs will
that's why.
pigs will eat anything too. They're pretty much omnivores,
Yeah, that's the
And so
thing.
are we. So are we.
I would not disagree, Janice. Pigs were once people, just like kangaroos were once people. Hey, kangaroos were once human as well. It's
Oh,
very
you think so?
interesting. Yes, most definitely. I
How
think so.
come?
You just look according. You look at the law of the ancient people as well. The First Nation people. That's part of their. That's part of the tales they tell,
Hmm.
and that's why they were Australians, or let me rather say, people should never eat kangaroo meat
Oh, they do all the
because
time though, don't they?
That's exactly it. Because the thing is, it's like cows have an agreement. There's certain animals that have an agreement with humans to eat that they are eaten. Kangaroos don't. It's like eating your own kind. Some
Who
people
has the
say to me,
agree?
it
Go over
looks
that.
like a
Say
human.
that again.
I said, it's like eating your own kind. I've heard people say that if putting a kangaroo thigh on the Barbie looks like a human thigh. But yeah, just spiritually, they will tell you they were once human. They do. And so it's very bad karma to eat kangaroos. So Australians, if you're watching, it's very bad karma to eat your kangaroos. Stop eating them, please. You're
Hmm.
creating bad karma for yourselves.
I didn't know
Okay.
that.
Yep. So what else? Okay, what else is on the? I
I'm
need
s
to get this.
Yeah, I have a couple more I'm searching for. Um,
Okay.
let me just pop one up there for you while I'm searching for another one because it didn't dump in the right um area. Let's switch it up for this one. Now this one is the still image, so the photograph. The next one I popped in there. You saw the video of that, and I'll let you talk on that. That's a wolf human hybrid. So I'll let you talk on that while I look for this other, because I remember I sent you the video of that privately.
Yes, but I have nothing to say about this. It's absolutely hideous.
Yeah.
So there is a video on it that you see this thing moving and growling and carrying on. But
Well,
I don't know.
it's dying breath basically.
Yeah.
And I was
So
told that was killed in North Africa.
well, it's possible it was a witch doctor that did that if it comes from Africa, because the witch doctors, that's what they do. They
Yeah, but I
shapeshift.
would say it was a chimera though. I mean, you could
Okay.
be right, but I would say it was a chimera in this case. Um, because what I was told is that a lot of this underground stuff, if the good guys don't find it and get to it and eliminate it, that the one of the last things that the evil people would do, because they're losing the overall war, was to let these guys go into the forest and stuff like that, because a lot of their entrances are in the forest. And then you just do it to cause havoc, basically,
Wow.
which doesn't surprise me, but you know how they are.
So have you been down to some of these dams? I think you said you had.
Yeah, I've been in a bunker before, but I haven't been into like the the evil ones, we'll say.
The dodgy dams.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, they have empty ones too, you know. They just have a whole bunch of empty ones.
Okay, I need to take that off.
Okay, take it off. I'm still trying to find this other
I
one
don't know
here,
what to
so.
replace it with. Okay, I'm just going to remove it. You can see our
Okay,
face
you
for a
can
while.
remove it. What I'm doing is I had some picture. I apologize for the delay, but I had a bunch of cloning. They do cloning under there too, which I'm sure that Jesse's talked about. But I have some good cloning pictures, and that's what I'm looking for right now. I tried to put them all in a specific folder beforehand, but it didn't work, so I apologize. There's probably too many. I was trying to put a bunch of them on the cloud. If we don't find it, I can go through more. But
No,
it
it's fine.
basically looks like a glass tube, and it's real close to how they've shown in the movies as well. I'm sure you've seen that where they grow the people in the glass tubes with liquid.
Yeah, we speak. I've actually spoken to quite a few people. Well, quite a few. Arkim Ra, who's a survivor of the secret space program. I mean, he speaks about these cloning facilities and being cloned. It's quite on another level. But yeah, so they obviously cloning underground. They've got these So who gets cloned then? Is it really only elites in terms of that, the celebs, that sort of thing? I'm sure it's probably quite expensive
Well,
to
they do
clone
it for
someone.
several reasons.
Yeah.
Um, some of them are just used for basically sex purposes. I hate to say that, but some of them are just used. They just make random good-looking women clones and stuff. And then some of them are clones of celebrities in case the celebrity dies unexpectedly. And some of them are used for experiments. Some of them are used for famous politicians as a stand-in or a double. Um, so you take your pick on that one. So
I was
yeah, there's
hearing
all different categories.
I was hearing that that's what it is to sell your soul, is really to allow yourself to be cloned.
I'm not sure on that, but I know it could forcefully do it as well. You know, they could take somebody and clone them. Let's take a celebrity and clone them without their will. I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah. Okay, what's this now that we're looking at here?
Yeah, that's a really old dumb. So it's an older
Okay.
picture there. While we're waiting, I wanted to pop you up with something that wasn't as gruesome, you know. And that's, you got to remember too, this is not even the worst of the worst. This stuff, we're just scratching the
Yeah.
surface.
I know some of I got the email now with some of the ones you've sent. It's just horrific. And of course, part of the pictures, and I don't think we're going to show them, is with the
No, I agree
kids.
with you.
Yeah, it's very gruesome, but they exist, that's for sure.
Well, we do want to wake people up and we want to educate, because if I just talk about this too, in my opinion, it's not as effective as have some sort of visual representation. Some of these are artist rendition, which I've shared, like the reptilian stuff, and some of them are real pictures, you know. And so when you see that, then it helps cement it a little bit. Say, well, this guy's just talking nonsense, which I'm not. I'm not talking nonsense. If I believed that it wasn't true, I wouldn't speak about it at all. Um, so I have pretty good evidence to believe that it is true. A and B, um, it's the visual aids are very helpful, especially for new people.
Yeah. Jack, I just want to say that, yeah, I don't know if you've just joined the show. Why do they have pig farms? Yes, because that's what they do with the unalived people, the kids. That's what I'm told. In a certain, I'm not saying every single time, but I guess that's what a lot of people have told me. A lot. Certain people have told me. Um, and it's interesting that the Mormon church apparently is big on pig farms and pig farming or
Yep,
something. Yeah. Lisa,
I
it's
heard
more
that
about
as well.
Lisa, just in terms of the pictures, it's also more about just getting struck because those are pictures that'll strike us. So
All right,
just
so
one.
I'm not seeing right now. I'm sorry, let me pop back in over here. Hang on one second. I'm gonna go back to my main folder. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. All right. Um, here is, I have, all right. Where do you want to go? I'm gonna pop a mild picture or a super graphic one. You pick. What do you want?
No, put up whatever. We can do what we need to for
Let's go
sure.
here first. Let's do this first. This is easy. So
Which
we
one is
also have heard in this truther movement that they have been
this?
using humans, in particular children, to extract their blood after they've been hurt in a certain way, and then they synthesize a certain substance from that. And I'm not going to say the word. I don't want you to say the word, but that's what it looks like. And I'm told it's that by ounce, it's the most expensive thing on earth. As far as spices go, to my knowledge, saffron, which is made from, I believe, an exotic flower, is the most expensive spice on earth. And this is, I'm told this is more expensive than that. It's more expensive than any drug you may buy. People say, oh, well, you know, this, you know, marijuana is this much or that, or cocaine is very expensive or that, whatever they say. This stuff, which is supposedly, I've never used this, I don't want to use it, but they've said that this stuff that starts with the letter A is the most expensive. Um, they say that it's this drug. You can have withdrawals from it, like if you're a big caffeine addict and you stop the next day, you'll have massive headaches. But the withdrawals from this are worse. They said it's
Yeah.
like kind of like withdrawing from heroin, and it has to do with your adrenal gland, and
Psychotic.
then it supposedly makes them live longer and have healthier skin, etc. But you can do that with taking really good supplements.
Yeah.
I have pretty good
Taking care of
skin because
yourself.
yeah, I take pretty good supplements. I still have pretty good skin. You don't have to go get this evil stuff that was produced in an evil way. And
Mm.
and so anyway, that's what the vial looks like,
Nice.
which is related to DUMBS because they're doing they were doing that heavily in the DUMBS.
Yeah. This, yeah, from kids in the pineal gland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this one, do not pop this on screen until you see it in the backstage first. If you want to, you can. It's up to you.
Okay, I'm
But
gonna
it's
pop it up. I'm gonna pop it up for a second. There are just these nasty pictures of the kids. So there we go.
okay. That's what
Moving.
they look like afterward, and that's it. Yeah, we'll flush that because we like
So,
Chantelle and we like Chantelle's channel.
well, thank you. I'm interested to know, we're always hearing about kids in cages and things down there. Does that happen? Are they in cages down there?
I've heard reports of it, yes.
Right.
If you want me to send you pictures privately, I can. But yes, I've heard reports of it and I've seen the evidence that yes, that was happening.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we've been hearing so many stories over the years since this lockdown began that there've been these dams are being blown up. Is there another picture on here that you want me to show?
Yeah, I just popped another one in there, but you can continue.
Just wanna.
I believe that's from a movie, but there's another relatively accurate of what a relatively accurate representation of what they look like. Some of the beings that are helping us, and they're there. I believe this is from a movie, but that from what I've seen, that's relatively accurate rendition of that.
Super interesting. All different shapes and sizes. Who would have thought? Just a few years ago, we still thought we were the only species in the universe.
Oh yeah, not.
Right. Wow. Very interesting. Sure.
Do we have
Let's
any
see.
questions?
I'm just looking here. I'm just seeing it popping something that Ursa has popped up here. I read where shapeshifters are different when shifted, and reptilians or Dracos have a different effect when using the AC of a shifter. I don't know what the AC is. What is that?
Let me go up on the comments. I'm reading comments too. Who said that?
Ursa, it's on the screen.
Oh, I can't read that.
Monoprop.
It's too small for me to read. Sorry.
Grandpa.
Hey, at least I'm honest, right?
Have you not got your glasses, Gramps? Yeah.
Let me see. I'm in the actual chat
Okay,
right
he's
now
talking.
too.
Sorry, Ursa. He's talking about the Adreno. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
makes
okay,
sense now.
yes.
Sorry. Brought it all
Yep.
together. Thank you. Yeah. Wow. That's very. It's true.
Thanks,
Okay.
Janice.
Yeah. That's so true, and I fully agree with this, Roger. And in fact, Jesse has also we've done shows on that in the past, with Jesse about this Planet of the Apes story. Full on believing that's happening. They definitely have got these gorillas and things that they've been. Uh, that's one of the reasons why our lovely Ellen DeGeneres, in my opinion, has been taken was gifted this beautiful gorilla sanctuary in Rwanda. And if you look at all of the patrons on her sanctuary, they are all there's like 30 of them. For those of you who watched the show I did on Ellen DeGeneres a few months back with Jesse, it's actually the second time I've done a show on that. And all the patrons are the zoos, Walmart. Why the hell is Walmart a patron of the Rwandan gorilla sanctuary?
I
And
don't
I don't
know.
know how many zoos. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Why are they?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so you know what they're doing, and then you're looking at the zoos, and they've got them all there. So these gorillas are being trafficked not only to zoos, but they use them very much in satanic ritual abuse as well. It's appalling what they do. It's just disgusting. I'm telling you, these people they need some holy water. They definitely need some holy water. Let's hope.
Well, the
You know,
Russians, the USSR in I don't remember when it was, let's say the 650s or 60s, was trying to get a human woman to give birth to a hybrid, and they were trying to do it without high technology. So you know what they were forcing her to do? To sleep with apes, great apes. And the rumor was is that she was successful and conceived, and they tried a bunch of different times. Have you heard that?
that is just beyond disgusting. No, but what I have heard is that one of the things they do, and this is just one of the things they do, is they will, because obviously the ape is so close to the human DNA, right? They will take the embryo of a human, right, and put it in the gorilla, the female gorilla. And she then carries the human baby to full term, gives birth, right, and believes this is her baby. And then the male gorilla knows, this is not my baby. And what they do for fun is watch how the gorilla then, the male gorilla, will fight her tooth and nail for that baby, and he rips that baby apart, like
That's
literally there in
gross.
front of her.
That's so gross.
And these people are sitting in an arena watching this. They're watching this, right? Taking bets. And then the mother goes into deep depression after that. And that's what they do. They're so depraved, man. It's absolutely depraved.
That's gross.
Yeah. So animals have most definitely been used. And of course, Oprah Winfrey, and we've spoken about it several times, is the head of the primate prostitution ring. So she's one of those that traffics the primates for prostitution.
That's so gross.
That's one of her jobs.
I heard too, I can't remember where I heard this, but um I can't remember where I heard it. But anyway, I heard that the men that practice in the bestiality, they can get a rare, I don't know what it's called, but they can get a rare disease, and it can infect their male parts, and eventually it could fall off. That's what I heard.
Well, yeah, Leslie is saying, I heard Oprah ran a gorilla farm and farmed them out to be bred with women. I would love to hear where you got that information from. It's the first time I've heard that. And it would make perfect sense that she would be head of the primate prostitution ring, that she would have that. And not only women, part of the SRA is that they get these things to do that to kids, by the way.
That's
That's
so
part
bad.
of SRA. No, it's on another level depraved. You know, it's not human anymore. I agree with you.
I
Anyway,
have some more related information based on the chimeras, which we could do a different show on this maybe, but uh, the genetic experimentation, they make super soldiers, as you're aware of, right?
yeah.
So they've been doing that for at least 25 years, is what I was told, and that they used them in the Syria war a few years back.
How? I mean, if how were they using the chimeras in the Syria war? Were they?
Well,
I mean, they had to be human,
well, they still
not
looked very human. They were just bigger,
right.
taller, stronger, faster, and they were,
Would make sense.
7'6" to 8'6" is what I was told.
Whose side? Who was using
Our
it?
side did that. Our side did that to
That
fight
is
in
just
Syria.
that's so disgusting. That's completely unfair.
Oh, what's on the screen right now? No, I was talking. I'm sorry, I switched gears. I was talking about the super soldiers in Syria back in
No, no,
2012 to 2014. That was us. This creature is not our side.
no. What I was saying about that, I agree. What you were saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about the creature. I'm saying that if the U.S. military created chimeras that were how many feet? 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall,
7 to 8.
7 to 8 feet tall, to fight against the Syrians. That's completely unfair. I
Of
mean,
course it is.
that's like using superpowers against an unarmed person, because
But don't we?
you can't actually defend yourself against that, can you?
You also can't. If you're a tribe in Afghanistan, you have no way to defend yourself from super advanced U.S. Air Force planes.
Well, that's my point.
We
So
always
I don't know.
Humans always use superior technology to take over somebody else. It happens throughout history. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's always
No,
happened.
I agree. I'm just amazed that they were doing that, and it's like in broad daylight. I mean, why was no one talking about that? Why were we not
They
seeing
were
these big
they
soldiers?
were talking about it, but you have to be able to speak Arabic because the Arabic
Okay, so
news.
why was the international media not talking about that then?
Why would they? Why would they?
Well, if they, I mean, if it's okay to use superior technology to take over another country, then it must be okay to reveal it in the press, surely.
Yeah, but they won't even talk about white farmers being killed in South Africa. Let's be honest with ourselves now. Okay.
But that's my point. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I agree. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I'm absolutely agreeing with everything you're saying. But to me, it's ludicrous that this stuff is being done. And, you go back to, I had an interview with Gary Wayne a couple of weeks back, and he was saying World War One was started by two rivaling cousins. So
He's
two of
right.
the, yes, exactly. So all of this is because of these guys at the top that really entertain themselves at our expense. They really
No
do.
doubt.
Mm. Wow. Just I'm interested. Just
I have
yeah.
a
Also, what you're
I
saying. Yeah.
in
Hi.
my arc. Go ahead. Sorry.
Just wanted to say high sensitivity places where no trace of your involvement is, and when they send in a hybrid. Okay, makes sense. Okay, what were you saying?
No,
Sorry,
no, no. I
Jan.
was saying, uh, I I have way more pictures and information, especially on the chimera and the hybrid stuff. Uh, I tried to be selective about what I shared. but there's a lot more on that. And again, we're calling this series, I'm calling this Back to the Basics, meaning what are the first things we started learning in the Truther movement. So I don't want to do, 20 pictures of hybrids. You just need to see a couple, right? So maybe if one day you want, yeah, I know you have your Telegram channel. If you ever want me to do like a photo dump on there, then I could do that, but it's your call. And for the audience sake, um,
Yeah, you
there's
can do that.
pretty much no censoring on Telegram, which is why we like it. I know a lot of you don't want to download it, whatever, that's cool. But from our standpoint, you can share just about whatever you want. So,
Well, you can definitely go and check out Aquarius Rising Africa on Telegram. Join that, and then Brock. Yeah, we often Brock does stuff like that there as well, and it's so true. War's a human sacrifice ritual. Exactly, they are. In anything that takes blood from another, same as slaughterhouses. You look at the slaughterhouses; they are all, because remember the Freemasons are all town planners, so they know exactly where the ley lines and portals are. Churches, these big sports arenas and things, slaughterhouses, places like that, all built on these portals where they harvest the most energy. I mean, the fear, the terror, the blood. How many millions of animals are slaughtered every day? That
a
gets put
lot.
nicely, exactly, nicely on our plate, and we eat a little lamb chop or a pork chop, not understanding a lot about that. So there's a lot more to life than just understanding and reciting Bible verses, that's for sure. Being a true Christian, a true believer, is understanding that everything deserves life and every life deserves respect, and we should all be looking out for each other. That's my point. And we should be aware of what we consume in terms of our food, because it's
Well,
not
there's
just
some
about
people,
what we're eating. Hmm?
no, there's some people I'd say that don't deserve life anymore, but yeah, I would say basically that most do, but there's some that don't.
No, I agree. And I'm talking about the average person, the one that's battling and really just trying to do the right thing and ah,
Well, the average
trying,
person's under mind control. So
yeah,
that's what
exactly.
that's
Trying
what this
not to
series
drown.
this
Yeah.
series is all about. Anybody new to this, look at the pictures, do your own research, and hopefully it helps you with your awakening process.
Thank you, Brock.
You're welcome.
All life has value, absolutely, and we deserve to give respect to each and everything. I mean, if you even a tick, if you pull a tick off your dog, that thing runs for its life. It wants to live, right? It wants to live. Everything wants to live. It's here for a purpose and a reason. And that's what we all need to realize. And in the tick's world, its little consciousness of that world, that's its entire universe, right? Just like we think this is our entire universe as well. But there's so much more. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Anyway, Brock, it's been a great pleasure chatting to you again. Look forward to having you back in a couple of weeks again. And I want to just say to each and every one of our viewers, I really appreciate you for being here, hanging out with me on date night, Saturday night with America and the rest of the world. I hope you like what I wore today, guys. Kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Brock, is there anything you want to just maybe wrap up with?
No, thank you all for joining. Please pop into the Telegram. I have one. Chantelle has one of the same names, and I will enjoy answering any questions that people might have there. And of course, I work too, so I get in there as much as possible. But feel free to go on there and ask questions and tag one of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nesara 17 on Telegram. I'm just seeing if I've got your banner on here now. I think
Yep,
might be on the
and yours is
other show.
obviously Aquarius Rising Africa.
Yeah, and Aquarius Rising Africa. So just check that out. And then yeah, Brock will drop some pics and stuff, links and stuff on there. So interesting indeed. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, as I said. Appreciate you guys very, very much. We'll see Brock back in a few weeks. And tomorrow I will see you all at 9 a.m. EST, 3 p.m. CAT, actually. I should say CAT rather than GMT plus 2. CAT, Central African Time. And I like CAT. So I'm gonna go 3 p.m. CAT tomorrow. I'll see you all on Book Club with Jesse. Look forward to seeing you there, Patreons. Take it easy. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And God bless.